We're gonna start first with the box drive, and then we are going to go to get in-person tour of the lab and the areas around it. So yeah, this box drive is going to be shared with you guys if it hasn't been already. I'll be doing that. And yeah, you guys will have access to everything that we go through on this online. Online are the most updated versions of all the safety documents you guys need to be aware of. Okay, if you have any questions at any point, please feel free to raise your hand, ask away, and I'll be happy to answer them. I'll also be reading things off of here on purpose because I want to make sure that I don't say something that isn't accurate regarding any of these safety essentials that you need to know. All right, first we have our injury, illness, and prevention. In this folder, we have this one right here. This stands for IIPP, stands for the Injury, Illness, and Prevention Program. It's department specific, so it's issued by the Department of Biomedical Engineering. And so this document outlines department safety policies and procedures for the lab, and it's basically this entire walkthrough, also including inspections, trainings, policies, and things like that. It's basically everything that we're doing in person, but on paper. Feel free to go through it if you need any sort of refresher. If you have any questions about whatever's in the lab, or you feel like something is unsafe and it needs to be reported, please contact a student lab manager on duty. So for you guys, that'll be me, Amana, your guys' student lab manager for your section. Or we would contact Andrew. His phone number's on the door, but I'll also be giving you guys his email, so you guys will have access to that. I will also be able to contact him for you. Okay, so that's the first thing that's very important about this document. Going back, sorry. Just do this. We also have our laboratory safety manual. This includes the chemical hygiene plan. So this one right here is the most recent one. It's the written version of the online safety training that if you have not completed yet, this is what you guys will be completing. It's the UC Fundamentals of Lab Safety, the ones that we call the LMS online training, right? This is what you would be completing there, but it's just written up right here. It's your go-to guide to reference any safety-related information you have about the lab, including things like pictograms, chemical safety, and PPE. So I'm going to scroll a little bit so I can show you some pictograms if they pop up for me. But for example, like right here, this is a section about chemical hazard identification. So things like that, you guys will of course have gone through them in the training. Exactly, things like this. So you know what that looks like, what it stands for. When you see it in the lab, what are the hazards that are associated with it, okay? We also have our emergency action plan. This is the most important document that is in this whole drive. Oh, sorry, this is further going. Sorry. Okay. It's the most important document that's most relevant for us here, because in case there's any emergency, we want you guys to know where to go. So you'll scroll all the way down to the bottom. And right here on the second to last page is the one for academic surge building. The other ones are department, other buildings that are related to what we do. This plan has contact phone numbers, procedures, documents, but our evacuation meeting location is going to be this grassy area right outside the academic surge building. When we go outside and do a little bit of our outside tour, I'll be pointing it out to you guys. And then at that point, so let's say there's an emergency in the lab, remember you will leave your things, your priority is getting yourself out of the lab space. You will be going over there safely down the stairs, don't take the elevator, and when you're all outside, I'll be taking roll to make sure everybody is present. Does that make sense to everyone so far? Okay. That's in the event of an emergency. Yeah. We'll also be talking about where fire extinguishers, fire poles, we just talked about preferred evacuation route, but I'll be pointing out these things as we go outside. And just as a note, this is a student run lab. So we have a rule that no one can be in the lab alone. So that's why we'll be taking roll to make sure everybody is present when we get outside. That's the biggest thing with that. Okay, moving forward, we have our SDS. Does anyone know what SDS stands for?
Safety data sheet.
Awesome, safety data sheets, right. So in our SDS folder, we have some safety data sheets. For example, storage. But these documents that we have are used to reference safety, storage, handling, PPE, disposal, or specifications and procedures before using a chemical you are not familiar with. So before working with it, we would scroll down to an area that talks about splash protection, body protection, respiratory protection, what should you use in case it's something that needs certain restrictions. So it's an important part of an SOP when working with hazardous chemicals in the lab. So yeah, like I was mentioning, hazard stuff would be available around here. I probably should have picked a different one. Urea is another good one to go through. After that, we have SOPs. Does anyone know what SOP stands for? That's totally okay. SOP stands for Standard Operating Procedure. So standard operating procedures are just like what it sounds. Certain chemicals and processes are more dangerous and require extra training. So these trainings are called SOPs, Standard Operating Procedures, and they're given only by Andrew, who's our lab manager. Andrew and Dr. Facciati review all the activities that are happening in the lab. And so if you're working with something like carcinogens or something like that for a research lab afterwards, or for a class that's happening in the lab space, you would need to go through these trainings. But these are located here as part of the safety training for being in this lab space. Then something else is also in the safety nets folder. Again, all the ones that you guys need to know are going to be listed at the top of this drive. First, right here, we have Safety Net 13, which is our guidelines for our chemical spills. So this document has all the information for that. If a chemical spill happens in the lab, you would please refer to this document and also contact or let the student lab manager, which is me on duty, know that this is happening. We would refer to where the chemical spill kit is. I will be pointing this out for you guys in the lab space, and you would be referring to the spilled chemicals, SDS, right? So to know about the composition and any hazards that are associated with it. So this is all here for chemical spill control. After that, we also have one for biological spill control. So this is Safety Net 127. It'll be on there as well. This is not relevant for Big RT, but it could be if you join a research group or class that uses this bioinnovation lab. So since all the organisms though that we use in this lab are BSL 1 or lower, the biological spill kit is just bleach and paper towels. So we would be cleaning up any spilled biological materials with the bleach, wait 15 to 20 minutes, and then clean up with paper towels and water. I'll be showing you guys where both of those spill kits are as we go throughout the lab. I'm pointing them out to you. But yeah, the instructions are also going to be on here, as well as emergency numbers. Does anyone have any questions at this point? Awesome. Okay, so we're about to do our in-person walkthrough, but before we do that, I'm going to mention a really important point. Part of the PPE and lab safety actually starts before you guys come into lab, and the first bit of that is wearing long pants and closed-toed shoes. So what I'm wearing today does exemplify that. I'm wearing shoes that completely cover my toes, and even when I sit down or like raise my leg, you can't see my ankles. So some labs won't even let you in if you don't have long socks that cover your ankles. Here in Big RT, we're trying to practice good practices about how to get into labs and have good lab safety. So that starts now and here. So beginning next lab, when you guys start coming in for pipetting, please make sure that you are wearing long pants and closed-toed shoes. I can go on this side to show you this as well. So yeah, that's the first step. There's a sign on the door as well. I don't want to have to send anybody home. So yeah, that's part of it. But let's go ahead and get started with the in-person walkthrough. You don't need to bring anything. You can just leave your lab coats and everything. You can meet me at that back office, and we'll just form a little half circle and make our way through. Nobody can see? Okay, so first, so remember we just talked about having long pants all the time. If it's hot outside and you want to keep a pair of pants in the lab, we can let you do that. There is a drawer here that says personal items. It's towards the bottom. Personal items is where you can store a pair of pants in there for the quarter, come in and just change into those. Students are welcome to do that. Label it, please. Things that are not claimed by the end of the quarter, we are gonna have to get rid of it though. So please, you're responsible for your own items you leave here. Moving on, we also have the landline phone here. In case all of our cell phones go dead, in case there's a huge problem and we don't know where cell service and we need to reach emergency contact numbers, everybody will be using this landline phone that is right here on this desk. There's a list of emergency numbers on the shelf on that side or the cabinet. I'll be pointing them out as we go around that side. The last thing to point out in this office area is actually this, I guess, dresser. Whoa, that's not a dresser, but whatever. This station. here. Wait, what?
Filing cabinet.
Thank you. This, oh, it's not filing, but a cabinet. Yeah. This cabinet here, shelf. Thanks. So, last thing to point out is this shelf here. And so you guys, we don't allow food or drink inside the lab. However, if you have a closed water bottle and it's completely closed, it can stay out in the lab. But if you come in with your coffee or matcha, whatever, it needs to stay over here. Anytime you need to drink water, you are welcome to step into this office or outside of the lab to take a sip of water. But remember, no PPE. But these areas are like PPE free zones where you can drink and eat. But yeah, please don't eat in the lab or water bottles. Okay,